Actual. Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Week 8.
Sorry.
Running Routes podcast. I got Eddie. I got Nick. And we're about to dive into the Sunday games.
Let's get it.
Thursday night right now. Buccaneers are playing the Ravens. Bucks up 10-3. How y'all boys doing tonight?
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing incredible right now. I can't wait to do week 8. Let's get week 8 in. Let's do it. It's crazy. There's a lot of things happening this week. Let's get it.
All right. First game, London game. Both teams flying over there. We got the Denver Broncos. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I wouldn't say it's the most prettiest matchup that we're going to talk about today. But there are some interesting storylines to follow along with. Obviously, Russell Wilson plans on making the start after missing last week's game. That thing's been a circus. I don't see the circus stopping. And then you got Jacksonville that showed some promise here at the beginning of the season, but they've kind of run out of a little bit of steam here. They had the big trade with sending James Robinson packing up to the Jets. What are you guys looking for in this matchup here?
I think
I'll go to Eddie first. Who you got, Eddie?
I think this is going to be a crazy game because, the dynamic of, there might be a coach here on Denver, head coach here playing for his team, playing for his job right here. And I mean, obviously Russ has been struggling. Jacksonville's getting the nod here.
Positive though. Russ is still upbeat. He feels good about it. I don't know.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon, is the leading rusher on that team. It's Denver hasn't looked very good as a team, but defensively they've been very well on the defensive side of the ball. But what's scary about them is they're just not scoring points. 14.3 a game. Defense is playing well. 16-4 they're only allowing 16 points per game. But Jacksonville's putting that up. I don't know that they're going to put up, a whole hell of a lot, but I think they could put up 22. And I mean, if Russ keeps struggling, then 14 it is, and I'm taking Jacksonville here. As well as that defense is playing, I think Jacksonville at this point right now today until otherwise, to me, Jacksonville is just a little bit more of a complete team. I got to go Jacksonville here. I don't know, Nikki. How about you?
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you said, for sure. Denver, like Charlie said, it's been a circus. It's been all over the place. They have struggled on the offensive side of the ball. And with what you said about him being positive, Charlie, and him still coming into the locker room with a positive mindset and feeling good about what they got going on. He's not been terrible. Yes, he's been bad in a lot of places, but as a whole, I think is where it's happening. It's not just one player's fault. Yeah, he's the quarterback. He's the face of the offense. I mean, it looks like he's not performing, but he's still not turning the ball over like Russell Wilson does. But he also isn't scoring touchdowns, which they need to do. I think this is another bad matchup for Denver, considering it's another good defense. Sure, Denver's defense is good, but it's just not winning them games if they can't produce on offense. It's another fast, young defense from Jacksonville. That Robinson trade is huge. I'm glad you brought that up, Charlie, because I almost forgot about that. But yeah, him going over to the Jets, I think the Jets needed that, but the Jags, I kind of feel like that hurts them a little bit. So who knows kind of what they're looking for. Do they have another guy? Because I know Agnew's out, which is kind of their trick of all trades. If he's not on wideout, they kind of throw. But I mean, I don't know who's going to be toting the rock for them. But I'm going Jacksonville as well, just based off of kind of what Eddie was saying. I mean, points scored for Jacksonville and points scored for Denver. It's just.
I just want to point out the last time either one of these teams, September 25th, were the last time these teams each had a dub. Were the last times they got a dub, where they both won on 9-25-22. Were the last times Denver beat San Francisco by 1 point, 11-10. Jacksonville beat the Chargers, 38-10. Those were the last time these teams won.
Yeah, both these teams have been slumping. They're buying stock in ETN. I think it's a smart move. Jermichael Hasty, I believe, is going to be the change of pace back for him. You got to think around the goal line. They're definitely going to be working a different kind of game plan, but they've been phasing James Robinson out for the last 3 games. So this was kind of writing on the wall as far as that trade goes. I think Trevor Lawrence personally is going to struggle with this Denver defense. He's struggled against pressure all year, and I think this Denver defense is definitely going to get in his face. It's going to make things difficult. I think Christian Kirk with Patrick Surtain trailing him, I think that's going to be an issue too. I think ETN has the ability to make some really boom plays, but I think both teams are going to struggle putting the ball in the end zone. I'm going to go Denver here. I like what you said about Russell because it when you look at it, it really hasn't been his fault. I think the play calling, the overall scheme has hampered him a lot. But they're still the more talented offense. They just haven't shown it. I like the kid Dulcich, the rookie tight end, has finally gotten into the mix here after being hurt the first couple of games. We all know Russ loves to hit the tight end as well. He used the shit out of Will Disley and a number of no-name tight ends and made them fantasy relevant anyways in the prior years. I like Sutton too much. I'm questionable on Judy. I just haven't seen him put it down yet consistently, but I feel like he's still got the talent. I think Denver is going to get the win here. I like a lot of what Jacksonville has, but it's still a lot of youth. I'm still not sold on Trevor Lawrence. I think that game plan wise, you can make him look good, and they have done a pretty good job of that. But I think he's still very raw and still has a lot to learn. And I think this defense is going to be a little bit too much for him. So I'm going to go Denver.
I wanted to point out to you, Charlie, about how last week we talked about how we thought Zach Wilson was also going to struggle against the Denver defense. And me and you both agreed on that, I think, and took Denver. Denver ended up losing that game in a tight one. It wasn't a high-scoring game, so the defense was still there. But Zach Wilson ultimately was able to get the better of them. And I think that Trevor Lawrence, to me, is a step up from Zach Wilson. So I think that Jacksonville, and they've proven that they can score points. So it should be a good game. Another tough one for me for sure.
Yeah,
I hate the Denver game. I hate the Denver game.
I can see that it could go either way. I think if Russ would have been in that game instead of Rippon, which Rippon played pretty well, I think Denver would have been able to pull that out. If it wasn't for that big Breece Hall run, the Jets had little to nothing going on offense for the majority of the day. But yeah, I can see you guys' point, and it's tough to buy into Denver. It really is. Unfortunately, we all got to pick a side on this one.